You're watching Major League Baseball's virtual network. I'm Nicholas Callis. These are your game recaps and standing updates from Monday, April the 6th, 2020. Starting in the American League East, the Tampa Bay Rays and Boston Red Sox played in a game, and the Rays ended up winning 3-2. Jose Alvarado got the win out of the bullpen. One win now for him on the season. And Hernandez, struggling out of the pen, now has 3 losses on his record. Nick Anderson now has 2 saves as the Rays closer. The Red Sox still stuck at 2 wins out of 11 games to start the 2020 season. You'll see that in the standings later. The Baltimore Orioles and the New York Yankees played also in an American League East matchup. The Orioles ended up winning at Yankee Stadium by the score of 6-3. This was a bullpen game as well. The Orioles came out strong. Oh no, it was a starter game. Jonathan Loaiza got the loss, and Bailey got the win on the mound for the Orioles. The Orioles put up pairs in the 3rd, 5th, and 8th, and the Yankees, although trying a late comeback, could not come back, and that resulted in the 6-3 loss. The Chicago White Sox and Seattle Mariners played. This was a game decided by starters. Michael Kopech got the win, Marco Gonzalez got the loss, and Alex Colome got his 3rd save of the year. The White Sox only needed 4 runs, 3 of which were scored in that 4th inning, and then tacked on a run in the 6th to pull out the win. The Mariners continue to struggle this season, one of the bottom teams in the American League West. Meanwhile, the White Sox, one of the top teams in the American League Central. You'll see that later. American League Central matchup between the Kansas City Royals and the Detroit Tigers. The Royals were able to win after the Tigers put up 2 runs in the 1st inning and didn't score after that. Spencer Turnbull now has 2 losses on the year, and Jesse Hahn got his 1st win as a member of the Royals rotation. Ian Kennedy, the closer, now has 2 saves on the year. Our other game of the day here on Major League Baseball's virtual network, one was Rays Red Sox. This one, Indians and Twins. Despite the Indians getting a solo home run from Carlos Santana in the top of the 1st inning, the Twins answered quickly and more. 4 runs in the bottom of the 1st inning, tacked on a few more late in the game, but ended up winning 7-3. Jose Barrios, ace of the Twins, now 2-1 on the year, and Shane Bieber, ace of the Indians, now 1-2. American League West game featuring the Oakland Athletics and the Los Angeles Angels. The Athletics won 5-4. This is a close game that was dominated by crooked numbers on the board. 2 in the 1st, 2 in the 2nd, 2 in the 3rd, and then a 3 spot put up in the 7th by the Athletics was the difference maker. TJ McFarland got a win out of the bullpen, and Liam Hendricks now his 3rd save as closer of the Athletics. Moving to the National League, the San Diego Padres continue on their winning streak and continue to be one of the top teams in the NL West. Actually, the top team for that matter, as you'll find out later. Padres won 3-1 against the Braves, who continue to be a middle team in the AL East. Braves, the NL East, but the Braves, despite getting 11 hits, only scored 1 run, and the Padres were able to work around an error, and they scored 3 runs on 7 hits. This game was decided in extra innings. Another National League East game between the Miami Marlins and the Washington Nationals. The Marlins, as of right now, might be putting the rebuilding stages of their organization behind them as they continue to keep pace for the top of the NL East, beating the defending World Series champions 5-2. Caleb Smith now has 2 wins as the ace of the Marlins, and Kinsler now has 4 saves out of the pen for the Marlins. He's their closer. Interleague baseball between the Philadelphia Phillies and the Toronto Blue Jays. The Blue Jays got down early and stayed down thanks to a 6th-run 6th inning by the Phillies, who won 9-4. Aaron Nola and Hinju Ryu, each the aces of their respective teams, now 2-1 in decisions. Moving to the NL Central, this game took 10 innings, but the Milwaukee Brewers beat the Cincinnati Reds 4-3 in 10 innings as the Reds fall further down in NL Central standings. Ray Black got the win for the Brewers. Pedro Strop now with 2 losses since coming to the Reds and being a part of their bullpen. And Josh Hader now has 5 saves on the season. Brewers continue to pace themselves at the top of the NL Central, and the Reds fall further down in the standings now in last place. The Chicago Cubs and the Pittsburgh Pirates, another NL Central matchup. The Cubs won 7-5 against the Pirates. Tyler Chatwood got the win. Chris Stratton with the loss, and Craig Kimbrell now has 5 saves on the year as the Cubs closer. A historic game here between 2 National League teams, the Cardinals from the Central and the Dodgers from the West. But the Cardinals were able to win handedly 7-3 against the Dodgers. Daniel Ponce de Leon got the win. 1-0 is his record now, and Alex Wood, since returning to the Dodgers this season, now 1-1 as one of their starters. And an NL West matchup featuring the Diamondbacks and the Giants. The Diamondbacks get rid of the losing streak while piling on some offense. Scored 14 runs on 16 hits. The Giants, despite getting 8 runs and scoring 3 of them in the 9th inning, put up 12 hits and lost. Madison Bumgarner faced his former team for the first time since he signed with the Diamondbacks, but this time it was at the Giants Field, Oracle Park. And Drew Smyly now has 2 losses as a part of the Giants rotation. Bumgarner, both of his wins so far this season have come against his former team, the Giants. Checking out the standings around the league, starting in the American League East. The New York Yankees continue to stay at the top, 6-4 record. Trailed closely by the Blue Jays, who are a half game back with a 6-5 record. Baltimore Orioles, after beating the New York Yankees today on a 1-game winning streak, so to speak, and they've got a 5-5 record, continuing to stay close to the top of the division. The Rays, after beating the Red Sox, are now on a 2-game winning streak at 4-6, and they're 2 games behind in the division. And then the Boston Red Sox are now on a 4-game losing streak and have 2 wins out of 11 games, 4.5 games back of the American League East. The American League Central, the Chicago White Sox, 8-2 record, and are still at the top of the division. The Indians trail close behind on a 2-game losing streak now, though. 7-4 record, 1.5 games back of the division. The Minnesota Twins are 6-5, 2.5 games back of the division. The Royals, 4-5, and the Detroit Tigers, after losing today, 2-8, and continue to stay in last place in the Central, 6 games back of the division. So the American League West, Rangers and Astros continue to stay knotted up for the top spot in the AL West. The Oakland Athletics close behind after a 2-game winning streak now, half game back of the division. And then the Angels and Mariners now tied for last place with 4-7 records, 2.5 games back of the AL West. Wild card standings, still pretty even, nothing with too much implication to this point, but there are the wild card standings in the American League. Now to the National League. Some close divisions here as well. The Miami Marlins and Philadelphia Phillies tied with a 7-4 record in first place in the NL East. The Washington Nationals are 6-4, a half game back of the NL East, close behind. The Braves, the reigning NL East champions, 2 games back on a 2-game losing streak now, 5-6 record. And the New York Mets, 4 games back of the division, 5-game losing streak, 2-7 out of 9 games in 2020. So the National League Central, the Cardinals have broken the tie with the Brewers for the division lead, and the Pirates for that matter, after beating the Dodgers today. 7-3 record the Cardinals have on a 3-game winning streak now. The Brewers, despite being on a 2-game winning streak, 6-4 now, 1 game back of the NL Central. The Cubs are 6-4, 1 game back of the NL Central on a 1-game winning streak after beating the Pirates. Pirates now 2 games back of the division lead after losing to the Cubs today, and now have a 500 winning percentage, 5-5 record. And the Cincinnati Reds have lost 3 straight now and are 3-7 on the year, 4 games back of the division lead. Into the National League West, Padres seeming unstoppable right now, 5-game winning streak, and they're 9-2 at the top of the NL West. The San Francisco Giants, despite losing to the Diamondbacks today, are still 6-4, 2.5 games back of the division lead. The Dodgers have now lost 2 straight. Their most recent loss to the St. Louis Cardinals. They're 5-5 now, 3.5 games back of the National League West lead. The Arizona Diamondbacks caught some fire, 2-game winning streak. And they're 4-7 now, 5 games back of the division. And the Colorado Rockies had an off day today, but they're still in the midst of a 6-game losing streak and are 1-9, 7.5 games back now of the division lead with the Padres' latest win today. And there are your National League wildcard standings. Not too high of implications yet, but there they are, just in case you want to see them. This has been your game recaps and standing updates from Monday, April the 6th, 2020. I'm Nicholas Callis. You've been watching Major League Baseball's Virtual Network.